Back live, we continue right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Bob Pompeani, Paul Zeise. You can reach us on the Borders and Borders hotline, which is right there on your screen at 412-575-2600. Got a lot of tweets in here on this topic. Eye of the Storm says he can sit till week 10, play 6 to 8 weeks, keep body fresh, and get paid next year. Okay. Joe says, could you see the Steelers drafting Shaquem Griffin? We'll talk about that. But Kunackle on Twitter, and I'm sure it's not Tom, says pay the man, but not too much, but pay the man. Well, Tom, what are you asking? He's already been offered $13 million a year, which is $6 million more now, $5 million more than what the next highest paid running back gets. When you say pay the man, the Steelers are willing to pay. It's his reluctance to accept the pay. He is living in some sort of fantasy land when it comes to what his value is based on his job description. It's as simple as that. So, I mean, that's where we are. Let's get to the lines, Paul. We got a lot of people want to talk, and we'll start with Jerry in Hempfield. Hey, Jerry, how you doing?
Hey, Paul, I like to agree with you on the spell, but I like to emphasize it a little more. If I was the Steelers, I wouldn't even franchise him. I would just let him go, and I would use that money for other things. And you know what? There's a lot of running backs.
They're not going to do that.
I know, but they catch passes. There's a lot of running backs that catch passes, so it's no big deal. Ben Roethlisberger and Tom Brady, they even block as a quarterback. They don't ask for more money. That's all part of the game. Whatever you have to do, you do. But this guy, he's ridiculous. And if the Steelers sign him, I'd give him maybe $1 million more over the top running back. But that's it. If he didn't want that, I'd let him go.
They can't. I mean, it's to the point now where it's either going to be $14.5 million or what he wants. And if he's not willing, he talks about retirement, Paul, and I wonder just how serious he is, because that's a ploy. It's something that a lot of guys use in negotiation. But when it comes down to it, push comes to shove, do you think he'd actually go through with that? And if so, more power to him. I would applaud him.
I don't think he's that dumb. He's not going to leave $14.5 million on the table. He might do what's the rule? He could sit out for like the first 4 weeks or something like, or whatever it is. He might pull that, but he's not leaving all that money on the table. And then, you know, to me, if you're the Steelers, I think he's a great player. He should be the highest paid running back, but not that much. That's absurd. If I was the Steelers, I'd non-exclusive tag him. If someone else is dumb enough to give him that much money, I'll take the 2 first-round picks, and we'll go from there.
Isaiah Krinock on Twitter says, we don't need Bell, we have James Conner. Well, you do need Le'Veon Bell, all due respect. I like James Conner a lot, but they still want to win, and they still need him. They know that, and I think, as I've said all along, my prediction was when this whole process started again, despite the optimism I heard from Bell and the Steelers, it's going to come down to franchise tag, and that's fine. 1 more year, and then you move on without him. That's what I think will happen. Let's go to line 3. Chuck in Blanox. Hey, Chuck, how you doing?
How you doing, gentlemen? I have a question for you. What do you think Le'Veon Bell would make in the open market? What do you think someone else would pay him?
Well, I mean, he's already – it just depends on the team. But I don't think you're going to see a team that's going to go way up above where he wants. $14 million is the highest pay. So do you think some team will pay him $17 million, which originally was –
No, I think someone will pay him 10, 11.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's in a position right now where he should be applauding it and take whatever was offered. I'd do that.
But that's why I would non-exclusive tag him, so he could see truly what his market value is out there. I think sometimes that's the reality of some of these coaches.
And it's the same guidelines. You'd still have to give him 14 and 5, but if someone would take him, it's the 2 first-round picks is the compensation.
That's what I mean. And you know what? And the other part of it, if someone comes to a deal that you can live with.
Someone won't take him for 2 first-round. They're going to first have to come up with the money to sign a long-term, plus you have to give up 2 first-round picks. That's not happening.
Say they come up with a deal that you can live with. You have you have the right to match it.
Right. Well, we'll see. Line 5 we go. It's Rick in Squirrel Hill. What's up, Rick? How you doing?
Bob and Paul, how are you?
Good, thanks.
About Le'Veon Bell. Does anybody ever mention he averaged 4 yards a carry this year? That is an average for an NFL running back. And regarding his 7.7 yards per reception, he is not Gale Sayers. So what's he thinking? He wants, like, eventually trying to get $20 million a year.
No, he doesn't.
He's out of his mind, Bob.
He doesn't want 20, you know. But let's put it this way: even though the average was down, he still has put up more yards per game in the NFL than anyone else since 1970. 128 per game. So you can say what you want about the average, but over the course of the time he's been here, Paul, he has been one of the most productive players in the NFL in a long, long time. So that's to his credit.
That's why he deserves to get paid, but not again. What are we talking about here?
We're talking about a figure that should be.
Is he worth $6.5 million more than LaShawn McCoy or Devontae Freeman?
No.
That's the question you have to ask.
All right, let's go out to Augie in Hollidaysburg. What's up, Augie? How you doing?
Thank you for taking my call, Bob.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Le'Veon Bell, I know everybody's talking about him right now, and I understand the value he has to the team and so on and so forth. He's just trying to outprice himself in so many ways. He's placing so much value on himself, which is fine. I get all that. I've been a Steelers/Pirate fan for 60 years. I remember back when Bradshaw, Rocky Bleier, all those guys, they tried to come and get more money. The Steelers backed down on a lot of cases.
It's not just that; it's anyone recently who wants to do it. They're not going to cave if that's what this is. So thank you for the call, but I don't see them doing that. They're gonna stick to their guns for the most part. They've already come. That's a nice offer.
It is, and apparently, according to the article today in ESPN, they've come up even a little bit from that, which I think is crazy. I would not do that if I was them. I would, again, I told you what I would do. Everyone knows what I would do.
All right, we're due for a break. What we're going to do is take one right now. When we come back, we have Stan, we have John, we have Jim, we have Karen. We'll get to your calls. Give us a shout right here on the Borders to Borders hotline of the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Back in a flash.